Hi, this is Kate from Daisy Nails, creating fun, funky and fabulous nails in the comfort of your home. I bought some pigment powder from Madam Glam recently and just going to show you what I did when I was messing around with it. So I started off with perfect black, so I get a real good contrast with the colours. There's the box it comes in, very nice, and open it up and those are the colours. You can get loose pigment powder, this particular one is pressed pigment powder. So I got my swatches, and because basically the powder sticks to your inhibition layer, I clean that off the pops and I then buffed them, so I then had that rough surface for anything else to attach to. You either need to have the inhibition layer or a buffed surface, you know, not buffed smooth but buffed with a bit of a key to it, so that anything you add to that will stick to it and you won't end up having bits sort of chipping off. So yeah, buffed it all over, and then once I'd buffed it, I then wiped it with some isopropyl alcohol again, just to remove all of the dust. On one of the pops I did stars, and on the other one I did a rose. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm currently in a car park. I haven't done a car park voiceover for a while. It's very quiet, it's raining slightly. There's a lady walking a dog. I think she may possibly have just kicked some leaves over the dog poo rather than picking it up. And not much else is happening. Right, so let's attach those pops back onto my pop holders with their lovely and very old blue tack. I've been using the same blue tack for years. Maybe it would stick better if I replaced it. And I didn't use the Madam Glam gel paint because that does not have a tacky layer. I remember I wanted this to have a tacky layer for the powder to stick to, but I wanted a white because then you get more of an oomph from the powder. So I used the perfect white from Madam Glam, and then I used the detail aligner. Oh no, I started off of course with a dotting tool, just a random set from Amazon, I think, years ago when I first started doing this. What I did here was, you know, I always talk about when you're trying to do something random, don't think too much. I started thinking too much. I wanted to put a moon in, and then I realised I hadn't left enough space. So I started doing it and then realised that I really needed a bit more space, so I just wiped off that little dot I've just done. And the moon I did in 2 attempts, which wasn't too bad. And you will see both of them, just because of editing. And with a moon, I think the important thing to remember that it is part of a full circle. So if you imagine that full circle with a smaller full circle covering it, because essentially that's why you get, of course, the phases of the moon, isn't it? Because the shadow of the earth from the sun covers the moon. So if you picture that that's what it is, it's much easier to see what the shape should be. So I painted that bit as if it was going to be a full circle. And then inside it, I tried to paint the outside of a slightly smaller circle, and then just filled in the middle bit. And once I've done that, I can add a couple more dots for more stars. And then I did the little lines to turn a couple of them into the sparkling stars. When you do the little lines, start off with a clean brush. You literally only need to use the gel that's already in that little dot you've made with your dotting tool. And then just pull it out, lifting the brush slightly away from the nail as you go, just to thin it out. Did I do one at the bottom? Yeah, I did one at the bottom as well, didn't I? Just a smaller amount, just because of having less space. And then pop that in the lamp for 30 seconds. While that was in the lamp, I got the other one and did the rose. Now, to make the rose, basically you're going to paint lots of commas. I think I could have done a better job at this rose, but then again, are there any of us that don't ever think we could have done a better job at something? So you start with a small little one. The little commas are lots of little swimming sperms. You start with that little one in the middle, and then you do slightly bigger ones all the way around, and you just keep going around with that shape to create the rose. And every so often I'd look and think, I think I need one in another bit, so I would sort of add another one somewhere else. I mean, it is possible to keep going on doing that until you've ended up with the, you know, taking up the whole nail, and I could have done that, but I chose to stop where I did. It does mean that the tip of my nail doesn't have anything on it, but, you know, if that were a client, I may do something different. I may have started the rose further down so it was more central. There we go, just bringing the tail of that one round a little bit further. And then I was trying to start the blobby bits not too near other blobby bits, so either in the centre of the previous one or near where two tails were joining. So you can see I'm sort of wobbling the brush around a bit there to make the blobby bit, and then as I curve it around again, I lift the brush up. I'm showing you with my hands, I don't know why, you can't see it, but I lift that brush up a little bit to get the thinner line. I think for this, was I still using my Madame Glam brush? I couldn't remember if I changed to one of the Crystal Nails ones or not. I think I looked at that and decided on one more. There we go, I think that was my last one. Just bring that tail around a bit further and then pop that in the lamp. Now I'm showing you that this is just a random brush. Old makeup brush, I think. Been hanging around in the drawer for years, but I got the palette out and I decided to go for a sort of a rainbow mix. So this nail has been in the lamp for the full cure, but it's still got the inhibition layer on, so that the powder will stick to that but not to the black. I mean, obviously it lays on the black for a while until you dust it off afterwards. So yeah, the red, the orange, I think I did yellow and green, and then I ran out of space. Between each time with the pressed powder, I rubbed that brush onto the white sort of kitchen towel sort of backing I've got to get rid of all of the previous colour. I think I swerved the camera over in a minute to show you the state of it. And then I cleaned off the brush. I mean, on a client I would have used a different brush. I'm not doing that bit yet. I'm now going on to the flower. So I'm doing exactly the same again. But then after I'd finished this, I completely cleaned the brush. I got all of the pigment out of it, or at least as much as I could see and was still coming off. And then dusted the nail down with that to remove it from the black parts. But like I say, on a client, I would have used a different brush to do that. You know, just to make sure I got it completely off. As it happens, it did work anyway, but still. So then I'm just dusting it down with the brush. And as you can see, it stays on the white because of that inhibition layer, or the sticky layer, which describes it slightly better. And it's just such a lovely effect. It gives such a nice ombre. You know, some bright colours. And with very little effort. So then we go in with a no white top coat. Or you could do it with a matte top coat if you want to. Remember, float that top coat on, especially with something like this, because creating that rose will make an uneven surface. So the more you float it on, the more you're going to even that surface out. I wasn't quite happy with the amount I dusted off. And then pop those in the lamp, which I did for a full cure of 30 seconds. Like I said on a client, I'll often put the top coat in for 60 seconds. I don't know if it makes any difference or not. It just makes me feel slightly better. There you go. There's where I rubbed the brush each time between each colour. Hide it away so it doesn't get anything in it. And there's my rose. And any second now, my stars and moon. I really like that effect. I'm going to play around, sort of have a look on YouTube, have a look on Instagram, see what other, and have a look on Pinterest, see what other things people have done with their pigment powders, have a play around. I just really enjoyed doing it. That was just my first ever time of trying it. Thank you for watching my video. Take care. I'll see you another time, okay? Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Bye.